Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, what I'd like to talk about is everybody buys Buddha's words, but nobody buys Sutta Nipata. So I will tell you again. So the title is everybody buys Buddha's words, but nobody buys Sutta Nipata. So, and first of all, what you thought is nobody purchases Buddha's words. I'm sorry, I stumbled. So, what title says everybody buys Buddha's words, but nobody buys Sutta Nipata. Of course, maybe most of you or all of you are not interested in Buddha's words because So, first of all, who are Buddhas is Buddha is a how should I say? Buddha is a type of people, or Buddhas are type of people who have reached some kind of how should I say? Buddha people do not have mundane desires. Such type of people are called Buddha, and so they have reached some kind of how should I say, some kind of a zero emotion field or zero emotion phase on which people who become Buddhas, or people who become Buddhas do not feel mundane desires or Buddha people do not feel or do not pass, but they do not perceive. Buddha people do not feel, do not perceive desires or lusts. Ordinary people feel and perceive and realize or understand. Such people are called Buddha, and that's it. The definition or the meaning of Buddhas is that's all. That is all the stuff about the definition or the meaning of Buddhas in this episode. So if you'd like to know the details of Buddha, please you investigate by yourself on the internet. So this time, what I'd like you to know is it is good to use easier and simpler words to tell others difficult stuff. And first of all, maybe, not maybe, it's ridiculous to say maybe, because, maybe nobody knows Sutta Nipata, and maybe most of you, or all of you could not realize, or I think, all of you could not listen to or could not hear what I pronounced in the title. So, maybe most of you know Buddha. I think most of you have heard of Buddha, because Buddha is related to Buddhism, but actually so what the hell Sutta Nipata is? Sutta Nipata is simply saying there is a Bible. So Bibles write about you can do this, you should do this, and you can't do this, and you should not do this. Stuff like that. It's written in Bibles, and Bibles are used among the believers of some religions, and so Sutta Nipata is one of such Bibles, and of course there are many special features in Sutta Nipata, and for example one of the special things is Pali language is used, and what is Pali language? Pali language is an ancient language maybe, and which is used just for liturgy or some kind of religious rites, stuff like that. So, but Sutta Nipata is a Bible, which is why what is written is really difficult, and moreover, the title is Sutta Nipata, from which nobody understands what kind of stuff Sutta Nipata is. And some people may think Sutta Nipata is the name of a person, and other people may think like Sutta Nipata is the name of a place, and so finally the fact is that Sutta Nipata is the name of a book. Please understand this. And but what is written is unknown, because the title is Sutta Nipata, and so I said Sutta Nipata, so there is a space between Sutta and Nipata. So and from the title of the book, nobody knows what is written. And of course Buddhism related, that is a Buddhism related stuff, which is why finally this says it is good to eliminate all the desires, or it is good to, for example it is good to trash all the lusts you have in your mind. Stuff, maybe stuff like that is written in the book. And actually, so so coming back to the, or going back to the original title of this episode. So everybody buys Buddha's words, which is because Buddha's words. So if the title of the Sutta Nipata is, if the title of Sutta Nipata is Buddha's words, everybody can understand what is written in Sutta Nipata, which is what I would like you to think, because so there is a translated version of Sutta Nipata in my country, and the title is, as I told you, Buddha's words. So yeah, so translate. So of course that is what I'm talking about is a translated version. No, not that translated version. What I'm talking about is one of the translated versions of Sutta Nipata, which means that the book titled Buddha's Words is written in Japanese language, and the title is Buddha's Words, or in Japanese language, pronounced in Japanese, that is Buddha no kotoba. Buddha no kotoba, or Buddha's Words, is a translated title of Sutta Nipata. And of course so only Sutta Nipata is really how should I say, so really unclear. Nobody can understand what is written, but by changing the title from Sutta Nipata to Buddha's Words, everybody can sort of understands what is written in Sutta Nipata. So like which and by the way, so the name of the translator is Mr. Hajime. Wait a moment, please. By the way, the translator of Buddha's Words is Mr. Hajime Nakamura, and he had passed away years before, so he had never experienced, and he had not even know COVID-19 anyway. So this is, which is not related to this episode. Anyway, so coming back to the original title of this episode. So what I'd like you to know is that it is good to use easier and simpler words to tell others difficult stuff. Which is what I said minutes before. And so what is written in Sutta Nipata is really difficult. But actually, so by simply explaining what is written in Sutta Nipata, for example, so this I think this translator did really a good job, because he changed the title from Sutta Nipata, or its literal translated version, into Buddha's Words. He used the term Buddha's Words, so he used the words Buddha's Words, which is I think is one of the masterpieces of his jobs. Which means if maybe so if almost all the people see, if you see the title, if you see the title Sutta Nipata literally, no, maybe you as I told you minutes before, there's no idea what is it? There's no idea about what is written in the book, but actually, if the title is Buddha's Words, you can understand what is written, and maybe you can understand that something good may be written in the book, which is what you can easily understand. So, like which, of course, what is written in Sutta Nipata and what is written in Buddha's Words are really difficult. But actually, by using simpler words or by using easier words, other, other, other people can understand, not only understand, other people can not only understand, but actually, other people can get interested in that difficult stuff you are going to explain, which is what I'd like you to know. So, I don't know, so, coming back from this title, what I'd like you to think about is that, so, I think most of you understand English language, and most of you, so how should I say? Maybe most of the listeners are native speakers of English language, but actually, so in the case, if you are white collar workers, or if what you do as your occupation is really difficult stuff, for example, so if you're in charge of, diplomatic communications, so there was a war between so Ukraine and Russia. So diplomatic communication is stuff like that. And in the case of Ukraine and Russia, ultimatum was done. I don't know whether the ultimatum was done between any side between Russia and Ukraine. I don't know whether the ultimatum existed between Ukraine and Russia. But actually, in the case of Ukraine and Russia, communication was broken off. There was a break off between Russia and Ukraine. But for example, there are many difficult things all over the world. But actually, you are one of the people, or if you are some people who handle or deal with such difficult stuff, maybe most of you know. But if you do not, that it is good to use simpler and easier words to describe what you handle to others. So I'd like you to try to use simpler and easier words. So to which extent? So maybe some of you have questions. Like to which extent you should make things easier or simpler. So to which the answer to the extent, or the answer to the question is that, so is that if you write things about the difficult stuff you always handle, or you often handle, or you always deal with. So if you write a book about that difficult stuff, how about, so I'd like to recommend you using, not using. So I'd like to suggest using simpler words for title. So I'd like you to think of title. Or what I'd like you to do is to think of the title for the book you are supposed to write, or you are going to write in that hypothetical situation. In that hypothetical situation, the hypothetical situation is that you are supposed to write something difficult. You always do, which is what I'd like you to think about this time. So this is all. So coming back to the original title. Coming back to the title, or coming back to the conclusion of this episode, so it is good to use simpler and easier words to explain especially difficult stuff to other people. And maybe most of you know that. So so to which extent you should use, or should you use simpler or easier words for the difficult stuff. So the answer is to, so the answer or the suggestion is to create a title for a book writing about the difficult stuff you do every day, or you handle always, which is also what I'd like you to know this time. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.